Welcome back on again to our deep dive.
Always exciting to jump in.
Today we're diving into the Estee Lauder companies.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, a real giant in the beauty industry. Probably everyone's heard of some of their brands,
For sure.
like Estee Lauder itself, obviously, Clinique, MAC, Bobbi Brown. I mean, the list goes on.
Those are some big names, big hitters.
Huge. But here's the thing, right? This company with these absolutely massive brands, their stock price has totally tanked.
Oh, wow. Really?
Like a staggering 85% drop from its all-time high. We're talking $370 down to about $65 today.
That's a big drop. What happened?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. That's what we're going to try and figure out today. We're going to be looking at their company profile, digging into those financials, and see what the analysts are forecasting for the future.
Got to try and get ahead of it. Right. See what's coming.
Exactly. So before we get into the really nitty-gritty of their financials, I think it's helpful just to kind of paint a picture of what Estee Lauder actually is for people who maybe aren't as familiar.
Yeah, good idea.
So what do they do?
Well, they're all about beauty products, right?
Okay.
Manufacturing, marketing, selling, the whole 9 yards. Skincare, makeup, fragrances, hair care even. And they're doing this all across the globe.
So it's not just like one product line or one specific market.
Yeah.
They're really kind of spread out.
Oh, yeah. Incredibly diverse portfolio of brands. And besides the ones you already mentioned, there's Origins, known for their natural ingredients, Aveda with that sustainability focus, Jo Malone London,
Yeah.
the luxury fragrances. I mean, there are tons more.
It really seems like they have something for everybody.
They really do. And they're reaching those customers through a ton of different channels, too. Department stores, specialty retailers, their own boutiques, of course, online, the whole thing.
But they've got a pretty good grasp on the market then, it seems.
Yeah, it seems like it.
But let's get back to this stock price drop. 85% is massive. Where do we even start to try and understand that?
Well, the financials are always a good place to begin.
Makes sense.
So first things first, we got to look at their revenue. What are they actually bringing in?
Look.
So for this fiscal year, they're projected to make about $15.23 billion.
Okay.
But here's the thing. That's actually a decrease, about 2.42% down from last year.
So sales are actually shrinking.
Yeah, a little bit. Not a great sign, obviously.
Oh, not ideal.
But revenue is just one piece of the puzzle.
Right.
We also need to look at profit, that net income. And this is where things get a little interesting. Their net income projected for this year is $1.61 per share.
Okay.
Which is a pretty big jump, actually, like 49.01% increase compared to last year.
Hold on. So their revenue's down, but their profit's up. How does that even work?
It suggests they're managing their expenses really well.
Okay.
Could be cutting costs, streamlining things. Maybe they shifted focus to more profitable products. Whatever it is, it's working. Their bottom line is looking good, even with those lower sales.
Interesting. So it's not all bad news then.
Not at all.
But what about those profit margins? Those different kinds? Are those looking healthy?
Yeah, let's take a look. Their gross margin, which tells us the profit after subtracting the cost of those goods sold, is sitting at a very healthy 73.15%.
Okay. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, and their operating margin, that factors in other operating expenses. It's respectable, too, about 9.71%.
So far, so good.
Right. Seems pretty strong, especially given how the economy is doing in general.
Exactly.
But there's a bit of a twist. Their profit margin, which takes everything into account, it's actually negative.
Negative. What does that even mean?
It means that after accounting for all their expenses, they're losing money on each dollar of sales.
Oh, that's not good.
Not ideal. It's a bit of a red flag, you know?
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if there's some underlying issues there that we need to dig into a bit more.
All right, so we've got declining revenue, increasing profit, strong gross and operating margins, but a negative profit margin overall.
Yeah, it's a bit of a roller coaster.
It really is.
Yeah.
Let's add another piece to this puzzle then. What about their P/E ratio?
Okay, yeah. P/E ratio. That's how much investors are willing to pay for each dollar of the company's earnings, right?
Right. And a high P/E ratio usually means investors are feeling pretty optimistic about future growth, right?
Exactly. But here's where Estee Lauder throws us another curveball. Their P/E ratio is currently -97.82.
Negative 97. How is that even possible?
Yeah, it's definitely unusual. It usually means one of two things. Either they've reported a huge loss recently, or investors are expecting massive growth, like unrealistically massive.
So either they're bleeding money or people are way too optimistic. Neither of those sound great.
It's definitely a head scratcher. Adds another layer of complexity to this whole thing.
It really does. Before my head explodes from all these numbers, let's talk about one more, the debt-to-equity ratio. What can that tell us?
Yeah, that basically tells us how much debt the company's using compared to how much comes from shareholders' equity. High ratio there can be a bit risky, especially if things start going downhill.
So where does Estee Lauder sit on that one?
Their current ratio is 2.25. So they're definitely comfortable using debt to some extent.
So not crazy high, but definitely something to keep in mind, especially with that negative profit margin we talked about.
Oh, for sure. It's all part of the bigger picture.
Right. It's all connected.
Yeah. And we need to look at all of it if we want to really understand what's going on with Estee Lauder and where they might be headed. So far, we've seen some concerning signs, but also some things that suggest potential strength. We really need to dig deeper to figure out what's driving these numbers.
All right. Well, let's do it. This deep dive is getting more and more interesting.
Oh, I agree. Like a financial mystery novel. And we're just getting to the good part.
Okay. So we've kind of laid out the puzzle pieces, right? Some good, some not so good. But what's actually driving all these numbers? What's going on behind the scenes at Estee Lauder?
Well, I think one thing we definitely can't ignore is the global economic situation. Things are a bit shaky right now.
Yeah, for sure. You're talking about inflation, interest rates, all that.
Exactly, and it makes people think twice about their spending, especially on, things that aren't totally essential, like beauty products.
I get it. When you're worried about affording groceries, a new lipstick isn't exactly top priority.
Right, and for Estee Lauder, this is even more of a problem because they're really reliant on that travel retail market, those duty-free shops in airports and tourist destinations.
Well, yeah, those are dangerous. I've definitely impulse bought my fair share of perfume in duty-free.
We've all been there. But the thing is, if fewer people are traveling, those sales plummet. And the pandemic, well, it's still having an impact on global travel, right? Plus, you've got the geopolitical stuff going on. It's all affecting that part of Estee Lauder's business.
So a tough economic climate overall and a dip in travel retail. Not a great combination.
Definitely not. And on top of that, the beauty industry itself is incredibly competitive right now.
Yeah, it seems like there's a new brand popping up every day.
It's a crowded space, for sure. And Estee Lauder's facing pressure from both sides. You've got the established luxury brands, and then these new, smaller indie brands coming in hot.
So they're kind of caught in the middle.
Yeah, kind of. Especially in skincare, these indie brands, they often market themselves as clean, sustainable, really targeted, and they're resonating with younger consumers.
Which is obviously a huge demographic for them.
Absolutely. It puts pressure on Estee Lauder to keep innovating and proving they're still relevant to that generation.
So it's not just about the products themselves, it's how they connect with consumers.
Exactly. Think about how people buy beauty products now. It's all about online reviews, influencers, social media. Estee Lauder needs to master that game.
It's a whole new world compared to like magazine ads and department store counters.
Right. They've been investing in e-commerce and digital marketing, but they've got some catching up to do. And then there's China.
Oh, right. Huge market for them, right?
Massive. But it's getting more and more complex.
What's happening there specifically?
Well, their economic growth has slowed down, which obviously affects consumer spending. And then you've got those geopolitical tensions and regulatory changes. It creates a lot of uncertainty for foreign companies.
Yeah, putting all your eggs in one basket, especially one as unpredictable as China, seems risky.
Exactly. Estee Lauder is trying to diversify, spread out their geographic reach, but that takes time. And while we're on the topic of company-specific challenges, we should mention their acquisition strategy.
Oh, yeah, they've acquired a ton of brands over the years.
They have, and that can be good, diversifying their portfolio, reaching new customers. But integrating all those brands effectively, making sure they work together without losing their individual identities, that's tricky.
A balancing act for sure.
It really is. And investors are watching closely. They want to see a clear vision for how Estee Lauder is going to manage all those brands and drive growth across the board. And speaking of growth, innovation is key, especially in the fast-paced world of skincare.
So what does that look like? Innovation in beauty these days.
Well, it's about new ingredients, new technologies, new ways to address skin concerns. And it's also about marketing innovation. How do you reach those younger consumers who are bombarded with messages constantly?
It's like trying to stand out in a sea of Instagram filters.
Exactly. But amidst all these challenges, there are some positives.
Okay, good. I was hoping for some good news.
Well, Estee Lauder is actually making progress on that digital transformation, investing heavily in their e-commerce platform, their digital marketing strategies.
So they're realizing they can't just rely on those department store counters anymore.
Exactly. And they're using data and analytics to really understand consumer behavior, tailor their products and marketing.
It's like they're finally learning how to speak the language of the internet.
They're getting there. And they're also focusing on key growth areas. Skincare, fragrance, those are smart choices. Skincare is booming, and fragrances, well, it's classic. Never goes out of style.
You can never have too many perfumes.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Plus, they're expanding their offerings for men and for people of color, broadening their appeal, and it's the right thing to do.
So inclusivity is a big part of their strategy.
It seems to be. And on top of all that, they're streamlining their operations, closing underperforming stores, investing in their supply chain to cut costs, improve those profit margins.
So tightening their belt in some areas, investing in others.
Yeah, it's a balancing act, but the bottom line is Estee Lauder isn't just standing still. They're taking action, trying to transform their business.
It sounds like they're fighting hard for their spot in this new world of beauty.
They are, but the question is, will it be enough to get back to where they were?
That's the million-dollar question, and I think we need to look at the bigger picture to even try to answer it.
I agree. We need to consider those broader trends shaping the beauty industry and where Estee Lauder fits into all of that.
Okay, I'm ready for some big picture thinking. Let's do it. Okay, so we're back, ready to tackle the big picture, the future of the beauty industry. What's it all going to look like, and what does it mean for Estee Lauder?
Well, it's a really fascinating time right now. Lots of change happening, lots of challenges.
Okay, so what are those big trends shaping the future of beauty? What should our listeners be paying attention to?
One of the biggest, I think, is conscious consumerism. People are way more aware now
In a way.
of ingredients, where they come from, what impact they have on the environment especially.
Right, yeah. Clean beauty seems to be everywhere now.
It's not just a trend, though. It's a real shift. People want transparency, sustainability from the brands they're buying.
Companies can't just slap a label on and call it a day anymore.
Nope, they got to actually walk the walk.
For sure.
And this ties into another big one, personalization. People are tired of one size fits all.
Makes sense.
They want things tailored to their specific needs, skin type, lifestyle, values even.
We're all unique, so our beauty routines should be unique too.
Exactly. And technology is a big driver here.
Oh, yeah.
AI-powered consultations, personalized recommendations, even custom blended products. It's pretty wild.
That's amazing. Like having your own personal beauty scientist.
Kind of, yeah. And this personalization goes hand in hand with the whole social commerce thing.
Social commerce. What's that in the context of beauty?
It's how people are discovering new products. Reviews, influencers, social media buzz. It's a social experience now.
Ah, so that's the whole TikTok made me buy it phenomenon.
Exactly. Brands are definitely catching on. They're partnering with influencers, creating engaging content, building a community.
So it's not just about selling a product. It's about creating a tribe, a shared experience.
Yeah, very much so. And this all leads to another interesting trend. The lines are getting blurred.
Between
Beauty, wellness, self-care.
Right, yeah. It's not just about looking good on the outside anymore.
Exactly. You've got beauty supplements promising to improve your skin from within, the focus on mental health, stress, how it affects your skin. It's all connected.
A more holistic view of beauty, taking care of yourself on every level.
Exactly. So now the big question is, where does Estee Lauder fit into all of this? Can they adapt?
That's what I want to know.
The good news is they're aware of these trends. They're taking steps. Investing in clean beauty, exploring personalization, upping their digital game.
Okay, so they're checking all the boxes. But are they moving fast enough? Can they shake that old school image?
That's the challenge. Legacy can be good and bad, you know? Strong reputation, loyal customers, but also baggage.
It's like turning a giant ship around. Takes time, lots of effort.
For sure. But they do have some advantages. Global reach, strong financials, tons of experience. Can they leverage all that in this new era?
So it's a wait and see kind of thing. What should our listeners be watching for? What are the key indicators of this transformation?
New products, are they innovative? Do they reflect what consumers care about now? Look at their marketing. Is it engaging, reaching the right people? And most importantly, their overall strategy. Are they truly embracing this new world or just talking the talk?
It's like we're watching this giant experiment unfold.
We are. Beauty is constantly changing, and Estee Lauder is right in the middle of it.
Sink or swim, right?
Pretty much. It all comes down to their ability to adapt, innovate, and connect with consumers in a meaningful way.
Well said.
Yeah.
So to all our listeners out there, keep your eyes peeled, observe, analyze, and decide for yourselves. Is Estee Lauder on its way back up, or are they fading away?
It's a fascinating story still being written. We'll definitely be keeping a close eye on it.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hope you enjoyed our deep dive. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Good night.